Hi guys, this is the third video in the Illuminated Manuscript Letters project. And so by now you should have both worksheets done if you're starting this video. So the Illuminated Letters worksheet as well as the Illuminated Manuscript sketch letter worksheet. So when you have both of these completed and this one colored, you can start measuring out for the letters. So if you notice, my letters are pretty equally spaced. They're all even. Accuracy is very important because they took a lot of painstakingly measures basically to make sure that the illuminated manuscript was very precise and that it was very beautiful. So we are going to go ahead and start measuring out your project in this video. So the first thing you're going to do is identify whether you're first at home or you're at school and able to use the 12 by 18 paper. So I have here a blank sheet of 12 by 18 inch paper, and that is the paper you would get at school. If you're at home, you're going to take two 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper and just kind of set them together. And take some tape. If you have tape, if you don't have tape, you're going to have to find something that resembles tape, like masking tape. I mean, that's a type of tape, but it's not the tape you want. And you're going to just kind of tape this together as best as you can. I think short pieces of tape work better. And I didn't overlap it. I just put it side by side. And then you'll tape it. And when you draw, you're going to draw on the other side. Don't draw on the tape side. So when I flip it over, I have a pretty big piece of paper. It's a little smaller than the other ones, but still not bad. All right. I'm going to do mine on the 12 by 18 inch piece of paper. And I'm going to need a ruler and a pencil, and honestly, probably an eraser if you have one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the left side, and we are going to make a space for your giant letter. And I'm going to see if I can move my document camera up just a little bit because this is such a giant paper. All right, so I put my ruler on the table and I align it with the top left portion. I highly suggest pausing this video at any time that you are confused because it does go pretty fast. So the first mark I'm going to make is at 3 inches. So it's that long line after the 3, and I'm going to make that mark against the edge of the page. The next mark that I'm going to make is going to be at 9 inches. So I'm going to make that 9-inch mark right here against the edge of the page. Now, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to just kind of move my ruler over on the page, and there's really no exact mark, but basically what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make my first box for my giant illuminated letter. So I would move it over. Let me see how many inches this would be. Like, let's say around 6 inches. It doesn't have to be like 6 inches exactly, but around 6-7 inches. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark again at 3 and at 9. Please do this lightly. I'm doing it darker because I'm making a video, but you need to do this extremely lightly because this is going to show if you make it too dark. All right, then I'm going to connect those two together. Again, there's no exact measurement how far over it should be, but the measurement at 3 inches and 9 inches, that's the one that you really need right now. So I'm going to leave that there just for this moment, okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making another set of smaller letters that go across the page. So I'm going to add those measurements after I get the first letter done. Now, you need to think about how many letters are on your page because you can make the first letter bigger or smaller depending on how many there are. So for instance, my project has a lot of letters because Kristen is a long name. But if I was doing Kara, which is my middle name, I could make the K longer and take up more space because then all I have to do is A-R-A. If I'm doing Charlotte, my daughter, that's a really long name. I'm going to have to make that first one kind of smaller. So I'm going to take my ruler, and I got to guess. I don't want to make it all the way against the page, so maybe I'll make it 2 inches over, about. So I take my ruler, And you can do it like mine, and then if you don't like it, you can change it. And I put my ruler right under that line, and I'm going to make a mark at 2 inches. So there's my mark. Okay, move it down right here. Make a mark at 2 inches. Okay, and then we're going to connect those two together. Again, pause and rewind this video as you see necessary. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'll put my ruler back on the line. I'm going to make a mark. So I'm putting it right under the line, actually not on the line. Make a mark at 6 inches. And I'll make a mark at 6 inches over here. And then I'm going to connect it. Now, this may or may not be big enough for my first letter. If you want to make it bigger, you can move this line over, or you could move this line over that way. I'm just trying to make a box for my illuminated letter. If you don't want to make it exactly this measurements, just change it. Okay, so let's talk about the other letters that are going to go here. So I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to put it back on this paper on the side. It's actually on the table next to the paper. It's aligned with the left side at the top. And I'm going to make it now a mark at 4 inches against the edge of the paper and 8 inches. So 4 and 8. Again, I'm not going to say pause it again because you guys are going to be like, okay, seriously, lady, be quiet. Then I'm going to move my ruler down somewhere a little past the other box because we're just going to be connecting all these together. And I'm going to make a mark at 4, and I'm going to make a mark at 8. All right, keep traveling down the paper. If we had 18-inch rulers, which I do, it's just that we're not allowed to use them for social distancing, we wouldn't have to do this, but we have 12-inch rulers. So then I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to make my last set of marks somewhere near the end, 4 and 8. So I just made 4 sets of marks that are at 4 inches and 8 inches. When I go to connect it, I'm going to turn it because I cannot connect lines that are horizontal. So I'm just going to connect these lines together, these dots, using my ruler, and I'm not going to draw through that box. If you draw through that box, that's fine. You can just erase it, but it's easier if you don't have a line through that box. So I'm going to connect these together. If you want to watch my whole spiel with this before you actually commit to doing it, feel free to do that. Because I know it's like, what? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm going to connect these together too. All right, so when you look at it, it basically makes these lines that go across the paper at 4 and 8 inches. Again, these boxes are going to be erased, so do not make them as dark as I made them. All right, then this is the trick that you have to kind of figure out based on how big your letters are. So when I was going to do Kristen, this is my paper that I was going to do Kristen. I figured out that I had, okay, the K, and then R-I-S-T-E-N. It was 6 more letters. So I had to figure out when I put my ruler on the page, there's 12 inches left. So how big could I make my letters without going off the page and have a little space at the end if I needed 6? So I decided that I was going to make them 1.5 inches. So what I did was I made a mark at 1.5, at 3, at 4.5, at 6, at 7.5, at 9, and then I have this extra space on the end because, see, I have extra space here, and then I had extra space here, so that would balance. Because if you have all your letters running to the end and there's space over here, that's not going to balance. So that's what I tried to do on my finished one, is have space here and also have space here. So you're going to have to figure out and count how many letters do you have. If it's 12 inches, how many would fit so that I have space at both sides? So I'm going to show you the word, Kara. So I have 12 inches, and I want space at the ends. What if I made 3 inches? So it'd be 3, 6, 9. I think that'd be fine. I mean, it'd be a little extra space at the end, but that's okay. So I'm going to make then a mark at 3 6, and 9. This is only going to work if you only want 3 more letters, just so you know. Okay? If you want 4 more letters, you're probably going to have to make it like 2.5 inches each. So 2.5, 5, 7.5. I'm trying to think of some of the names in our class. You can always ask me if you need help. So then I'm going to connect those together. Just like that. All right, so now I have a space for my illuminated letter K, A, R, A, and then nothing goes here. So I'll take my giant eraser, and again, you shouldn't have pressed very dark, and I'm going to erase this because these are just guideline boxes so that you get it accurate. And I'm also going to erase anything that was extra over here, like these lines that kind of came out. Okay, and now I'm going to erase this that came out here because I just need that box. Now, mine is not going to erase very well because I wrote really dark. And so if you write really dark too on your boxes, it's going to show and it's not going to look that great. So again, draw lightly. Please do not draw dark. If you drew too dark and you need to restart, use the back of your paper. All right, so this is how it would look at the end, and then I'm ready to start the next step, and that will be explained in the next video. Thanks so much.